You are listening to MD Holistic Healing with Dr. Raphael Kellman, holistic medical doctor and internist, as well as best-selling author. To reach Dr. Kellman, please call 833-MD-HELP-ME. That's 833-MD-HELP-ME. Visit him online at kellmancenter.com. Here now is Dr. Raphael Kellman.
And we're another edition of MD Holistic Healing. I'm Zev Brenner in conversation with a good doctor, Dr. Raphael Kellman. He is the founder of the Kellman Wellness Center, which is located in Midtown Manhattan. They're the premier integrative holistic medical center known worldwide for treating all kinds of situations, including thyroid conditions, autoimmune diseases, gastrointestinal disorders, Lyme disease, cognitive decline, hard to diagnose health problems. He's also the founder of the Microbiome Medicine and best-selling author. Dr. Kellman has treated tens of thousands of patients using the holistic approach, and lately he's been doing a lot of weight loss, including using Wegovy, which is an FDA-approved weight loss program. Also is a specialist in dealing with all kinds of alternative healing. So, Dr. Kellman, it's good to be speaking with you again.
Thank you, Zev. With the weight loss, it's first and foremost the microbiome diet. The Wegovy and all these are just a means to an end, like we always said. So people should know that in the microbiome diet, you could buy the book, The Microbiome Diet. And it discusses that's the book that I wrote. It discusses the revolutionary understanding and approach and treatment that could come from the microbiome. And it helps significantly with metabolism, virtually every health process in the body. The microbiome is involved. Anything in the body that constitutes health, the microbiome is involved. Every aspect of in terms of the causes of why people have poor metabolism and gain weight, the microbiome knows how to correct it. It's quite astonishing. So that's number one. That's the number one approach. You can get the book. You don't have to follow all the details. There's 3 phases. You can pick and choose which phase you want. Of course, it's better to do it in order, but most important is you get the general concepts, and Wegovy is secondary. We also have some very interesting technology that we spoke about, the True Sculpt and other things that helps with weight loss. Feel free to give us a call in the office, and we could discuss this with you. Zev will get out the number.
I'll give it 833-MD-HELP-ME, 833-MD-HELP-ME, easy to remember. By the way, I was watching Channel 7, ABC TV, the other day, and one of the health programs started talking about the microbiome diet. And I said, you know what? I noticed from listening to Dr. Kellman all these years.
Right.
So it's certainly very important, and it's something which you are one of the innovators who brought that to the public for.
Yeah. But now everybody, is on the bandwagon. No, that's okay. I mean, it's important that this new information gets out there. It's, as we said many times, it radically transforms the way we understand health and healing.
Now, I want to focus tonight. Now, everybody that's listening to this program knows that you're a regular doctor, you're an alternative healing, you specialize in both. But people don't always know that your deep commitment to Judaism, to the study of Kabbalah, to science. You're also next to Balkore. So tonight, I want to look at the correlation between health, Judaism, what Judaism has to say about medicine, about health. I know I heard you speak the other week about it, and it was wonderful. You gave people some insight. So let's look at how Judaism views medicine, doctors, healing. It's a broad topic. I don't know if we get to all of it tonight, but let's at least begin the discussion.
Yeah, so we know that the Torah so-called gives us permission, where it says yitain v'rapo yirapeh, that we can be involved in healing and helping people get better. But the real question is, why should we have any involvement in anything? Everything comes from Hashem. What kind of partnership could we possibly have? What can we add to the equation? Whatever Hashem created everything, he continues to create everything. He renews the world every day. Based on out of his kindness, he renews the world every day. So what role do we have at all? Even the people think, well, we're partners. Well, we're not really partners because it's all in the hands of Hashem. But we have ideas that we make up. There's nothing that we do ultimately that doesn't come from Hashem. So what does it mean that we're partners? And I think that that's something that's really misunderstood. Now, what does it mean that there's something that we need to do in order to complete what Hashem could do and God could do? No. So that's an erroneous concept that people think that Hashem does a certain amount and then we have to finish it. They use psukim like Kivo Shabbat Mikol Malchto Asher Bara Elokim Lasot. This actual word lasot, to do, meaning that we're supposed to do something. So what is it that we're really supposed to do? Clearly, everything comes from Hashem. It's, there's nothing else. Hashem is the creator, and there's nothing that we could possibly add. So what is this whole idea of Yitain V'Rapoi Yarapeh, that there is a component that we add to the equation? Why is the Torah giving us permission? Because the truth is that everything comes from Hashem. So what kind of permission are we really receiving? Mm-hmm. The only permission, the only thing we do is emunah, is involvement. Our involvement and the component that we add is the belief, emunah, which is, it's really, the word emunah is really erroneously translated as faith. It has really nothing to do with the classic understanding of faith, faith of believing in things that make no sense. No, of course not. It's much deeper than that. But, and I'll get to this in a second, but since there's really nothing that we could do to add to it, it's all Hashem's world. He's the creator. So that's why the Torah has to say, yes, you can do something. So why? What is it that we're adding? So we're adding the component of emunah. So now let's just say, what is emunah? First of all, in the Jew is a nukudah, a point that within us is this existential state that we just are connected to Hashem. We believe, meaning that no matter what happens, deep down within us, we believe in Hashem. But what about, what does believe mean? That Hashem is tov u'meitiv, that he's good and he does good, period. There's I'm not sure, remember if it's from the Talmud or from the Zohar, it says, Ein ra yored milmala. There's no evil, there's no negativity that comes from above. There's also a pasuk that says, basically, well, I'll just say that, I'll say it in Hebrew first, Ani Hashem lo shaniti. I am Hashem, I am God. Hashem is not, UK Bucky is not exactly what we mean by God, but that's another story. I don't change, meaning he's bringing to the world his goodness, and the original reason why Hashem created the world, the Ramchal says, the Zohar says, is that he created the world leitiv l'nivra, to only do good to his created beings, and not human beings, of course, but to every animal, every plant, everything is like to do good. So therefore, what is left for any human being to do? So the only component that we do is to bring the component of emunah. So it is this relationship with Hashem that we believe that he is good and does good, period. No matter, even though we see such evil and such negativity, to know that this is really just a surface perception. Deep down, it's much, much different in beneath this veneer. And within us, no matter what we see in terms of negativity, we have a connection. We believe in Hashem. So I'll give you an example of what belief. So first of all, it's the concept of tov u'meitiv, that he's good and he does good. Two, there's an inner feeling. It's a feeling. It's not about seichel. It's not about intelligence. It's nothing to do with our intelligence, nothing to do with the brain, nothing to do with seichel, nothing, zero. It's an inner point within us that we just feel Hashem's presence. It's like an existential state of being. So like Freud, we know, has his conception of what is a human being and what are the existential states. So you have the id, the ego, the superego. Of course, that's been debunked. What is the Jewish concept is that there's the existential state within us is emunah, a connection to God. And there's only one place in the Torah where the word emunah is found, and that's when with Moshe, and they were fighting Amalek, and Aaron Bechor were on his side. They held up his arms, and it says that that Moshe had emunah. The word emunah, it's used in the sense of clinging, of union, of uniting, and it's very different than the idea of faith. It's really, and then when Moshe had his hands up, Bnei Yisrael were winning the war. Meaning when there was faith, emunah, Bnei Yisrael was winning the war. So that's really what emunah means. And I'll give you a very concrete example of what this means. So I always see children, and it's incredible. The mothers are holding them on their laps, and we are injecting something, withdrawing blood on them, and they're screaming and they're crying. And the mother is just sitting there doing nothing, holding them down, and the baby's crying, the child is crying. And afterwards, after you draw the blood, the child hugs the mother. It's unbelievable. I mean, the mother was just there watching her child in pain, and yet afterwards the child hugs the mother. That's an example of emunah, believing in the mother that she is good and she's only going to do good. She's going to protect him and do good, even though all he sees or she sees is bad. The doctor's hurting him. That's an example of emunah, and on this level. And then there's also on the higher level of our relationship to Hashem, that irrespective of what we see, we have emunah. And this was what the Jews demonstrated for thousands of years. That is the demonstration of this existential state that they always had. And that's why life always emerged out of darkness, because that is the formula, nothing else. Now, so getting back to what is it that we offer in this relationship is only emunah, because it says, what others says, "Hakol b'dei Shemayim, chutz miyirat Shemayim." Everything's in the hands of Hashem. What partnership? Well, what's our role? Nothing, zero. So, but our role is emunah. That's what is needed on our level, on our end, in order to have the connection to Hashem, where the whole reality becomes one and united. Hashem Echad Shmochad. That's the role of human beings in this relationship with Hashem. So the Torah, of course, that's the basic concept. So how could we heal? How could a doctor do anything? Leave it to Hashem. No.
What you're basically saying is, if God makes somebody sick, then why should you be healing him? That's really the question.
Yeah, and also, what could you do? What could you possibly do? Nothing. Zero. We can't add anything to what the Creator, what a Kadosh Baruch Hu already made. So there's nothing we could do, except the only reason we're given so-called permission, because we can now add our component of emunah. Now, okay, so let's say, fine. So you're sick. I'm going to lie in bed, and Hashem, I have faith, I have emunah. Hashem's going to heal me. I'm going to do nothing. I'm just going to lie in bed and wait for Hashem to heal me. Or that's one option. The other option is, no, I'm going to go to the doctor. Now, and they both really have emunah. So which one is doing the right thing? Which one has more emunah? So some people would think, the person lying in bed. So no, I'm not going to go to any doctor. I believe Hashem will heal me. Or someone who goes to the doctor and afterwards says, no, Hashem heals me. is the one who healed me. So which one has more emunah? Clearly, it's the one who goes to the doctor. And that's why the Torah says you can go to the doctor, and believes, nevertheless, even though the doctor is giving me the medicine, is doing this, is doing that. So it creates a delusion or an illusion that it's the doctor that's doing it. And that's exactly why we're supposed to go, because even though it looks like Hashem's not involved, but nevertheless, we're supposed to go and actually, almost as if we're creating ourselves a situation where it makes it much more difficult to believe in Hashem, and nevertheless we do. So
well, you as a doctor, you are the conduit for the healing, and I want to pick up.
Well, we're the conduit to make it more difficult to believe in Hashem, because it looks like we are the ones that are doing the healing. And that's exactly what, that's our partnership, in that we, in the sense that it challenges people because it looks like it's the doctor that's doing it. That's exactly why we're supposed to be doctors, and that's exactly why people are supposed to go to the doctor, because it's very easy to be fooled to think, no, it's the doctor that's got me better. But no, we enter these challenges. Hashem wants us to enter these challenges and nevertheless still hold on to our emunah, even though it doesn't look like it's Hashem that's doing the healing.
Well, if you want, those that are just tuning in, you're listening to MD Holistic Healing tonight. We're getting a little bit more spiritual than we usually do. We're looking at the role of Judaism and medicine, the role of doctor in the eyes of the Torah. Of course, you're listening to MD Holistic Healing, and with Dr. Raphael Kellman. He is the founder of the Kellman Wellness Center located in Midtown Manhattan. They're the premier integrative holistic medical center known worldwide for treating all kinds of conditions, including thyroid, autoimmune and gastrointestinal disorders, and Lyme disease, and cognitive decline, and hard-to-diagnose health problems. Dr. Kellman is a specialist. He's the founder of Microbiome Medicine. He is a best-selling author. He has treated tens of thousands of patients using a holistic approach. And he's also been a specialist and one of the leaders in using Wegovy, FDA-approved drug for weight loss. And he's helped so many people in so many different ways. And if you have any questions for him, you can always contact him at 833-MD-HELP-ME, 833-MD-HELP-ME, or KellmanCenter.com, if online, KellmanCenter.com. And if you'd like to have any questions now, we'll certainly be happy to take some of your questions too. You can call 212-769-1925, extension 100, 212-769-1925, extension 100.
Leading stars have been losing weight rapidly with ease, thanks to miracle drugs Wegovy and Ozempic. In short supply, they are currently available under the supervision of leading physician and New York best-selling author Dr. Raphael Kellman, founder of Microbiome Medicine. Dr. Kellman has successfully helped people lose weight for over 20 years and can help you. Call Dr. Kellman at 833-MD-HELP-ME, online KellmanWellnessCenter.com to easily lose weight.
Do you have fatigue, brain fog, weight gain, gut problems, or unexplained symptoms? Dr. Kellman, an internist and pioneer in holistic functional medicine and best-selling author, can help. He finds the root causes through deeper testing methods and treats patients with natural compounds, hormone therapy, IV nutrition, and cutting-edge technologies. He's helped thousands of patients from all over the world, and he can help you too. Call the Kellman Wellness Center at 833-MD-HELP-ME for more information about how Dr. Kellman can help you feel your best. That's 833-MD-HELP-ME. Learn more about the Kellman Wellness Center at KellmanCenter.com. That phone number again, 833-MD-HELP-ME. That's 833-MD-HELP-ME.
You are listening to MD Holistic Healing with Dr. Raphael Kellman, holistic medical doctor and internist, as well as best-selling author. To reach Dr. Kellman, please call 833-MD-HELP-ME. That's 833-MD-HELP-ME. Visit him online at KellmanCenter.com.
And we're back. Dr. Kellman, let me ask you this question. You say doctors are really an agent of God because God created people to be sick. But sometimes doctors extend what their mandate is. So, for example, they'll tell somebody that he has only days to live or very little time to live, when really that's not his purview. His purview is to heal and not to do the prognosis of somebody who is not going to be living anymore. So that goes against what the Judaic value is all about, because at the end of the day, it's all up in the hands of God. But certainly you as the doctor are a conduit, and all your training in medicine comes in handy, and you have to have, the siyata d'shmaya, the fear of heaven when you're dealing with people, because these are people's lives at stake. You can't be cavalier. You have to be, of course, be compassionate. These are all Judaic principles to help a patient heal.
Yeah, I mean, any doctor who says something like that is it's almost avodah zarah, because you're believing in yourself. You're believing in science that gives you all the answers. That no, of course not. I mean, it's a terrible thing to do, to say things like that. It's absolutely antithetical to the principles of Torah. So anyone who says that is making a big mistake. Look, the Gemara says that so Raphael Gehenim, right? The end of doctors is Gehenim, is hell. And then it also says in another place, Tov Sher Raphael Gehenim, the best of them. So what's going on? What's the implication here? If you believe that it's you, then yeah, your destiny as a doctor is not Gehenna in the next world.
It's purgatory, right?
It's Gehenna, purgatory. It's purgatory now. You're living in a living hell, and it's death itself, because there's no. It's all you. You think it's you. What? I don't know if it's the Gemara, the Zohar, the Medrash, that says, if you're a egotist, gaiva, haughtiness, Hashem says, there's no room in the room for me and you to live together. You just, that's it. You take up the whole space. Same thing like when you get angry, right? When you're angry, you fill the whole universe. It's just, it expands everywhere. There's no room for anyone, and there's certainly no room for God when you have that type of state. That's why, if you have get angry, it's like worshiping idols, because God is Hashem's out of the picture. He's gone. He's not in the room. He's not on earth. It's completely gone.
But that's what you're saying is, if a doctor believes he's the world's best doctor, he doesn't need to consult with anybody. It's his opinion. No matter what anybody else says, he's doing it his way. And that's what I think also part of what the Talmud is condemning, is somebody who thinks he's the best doctor and doesn't bring anybody else, including God, not even another doctor, into the picture. Right.
So his destiny is not a lot of fun, and his destiny now. You're living in hell now. If God is out of your reality, it's a bad reality. So I think anyone who acts that way is any doctor who acts that way will end up again. Now, what does Gemara really mean? Is that as a doctor, it's very challenging to realize that it's not you. It's a constant challenge to realize that you have nothing to do with whether this person gets better or doesn't get better. It's all b'yad Hashem. Nothing, zero. It certainly looks like you're doing. It's kochi v'otzim yadi, my strength and my power it gives me this results, these great results and accomplishments. So, we're living in a society today that makes us really worship these idols of science, of ourselves. So as a doctor, it's very, very easy to believe that you're the one who's doing all the healing. So the Gemara says, and especially the best ones. Why the best ones really think that it's coming from them. Look, I mean, this is the head of the department of medicine or cardiology is. So it's easy to create ego and arrogance. So that's why the Gemara says it, but it doesn't have to be like that.
I'm afraid to say you're one of the best doctors around.
You should be afraid to say it. I know,
But I know
No,
that you're not a
that's-
the consultant. You realize that it's not just you. You have God-given talents that are helping you and assisting you to use, whether it's holistic medicine or traditional medicine, to try to help the
Right.
patient in front of you.
But remember that any talent also comes from Hashem. You know, it's a talent that Hashem happens to put into you for whatever reason. Why Hashem chose you to do this and chose someone else to do that, you don't know. Why did Hashem choose you to be whatever you're doing, whatever people are doing? Why did Hashem choose me to know this or to be a doctor? But it's certainly not our doing. So all the recognition has to go to Hashem, and not to believe anything else. But it's a big challenge because, and by the way, that's the whole sin of Adam Rishon, is that Hashem put us here, and He says, "You're going to have to work now." And so, what is that? What kind of punishment is that? The punishment is not really a punishment. Is that you got to go into the darkness so that you think that it's you. And then it will give you an opportunity to repair the sin of Adam Rishon, who thought it was him. So that's why Hashem made us work, so that it gives us the opportunity to show our emunah. So that's why ultimately it's all about. Now, I want to say one more thing before we end. The other opportunity or reason why people get sick and there's disease and what's the role of a human being, is that Hashem gives us an opportunity to help other people, not just doctors, for all of us to help other people. Because the research shows that when you help other people, you have more benefits out of it than the person you're healing. It's unbelievable. When you're in a community and there's a community of friends or churchgoers or synagogue goers, but if it's a real community of meeting, so you would think, oh, well, if there's friends and there's a community, this person is more likely to get better because you have people who are helping him. No, it's the person who's doing the helping that gets healed even more. So this is another reason why. I mean, this is what we need to do, not just doctors, but as friends, as part of the community, is to help people, and that's one of the most important responses to suffering and to illness, is to help, is to show, give your helping hand, and concern and love and assisting them in whatever they need. That's the most important thing we could do, and then healing will come, not necessarily in the way we understand it, but true healing, in the healing of the neshama.
And another broadcast, we should talk about the role of prayer in helping people get better. We're just out of time. You've been listening to MD Holistic Healing. Dr. Raphael Kellman is the founder of the Kellman Center in Manhattan. You can call him at 833-MD-HELP-ME, 833-MD-HELP-ME, or KellmanCenter.com. Look forward to having you again on a future broadcast to continue our conversation. Same time, same station. Thanks for listening.
Thank you for listening to today's episode.
You are listening to
Talkline Network Radio, America's longest-running Jewish broadcast network, the voice of the Jewish community.